Thank you for coming here. I am so excited. I've got somebody here who is more than a client, way more than a client. He's been a friend, he's been a mentor, he's been inspirational, and me stepping out big like I'm doing to do this music mixing success boot camp and everything, getting out of comfort zones. He always pushed us, me, Dave Hampton, Daryl, all of us that got a chance to hang around and have these late night talks. He always pushed us to go ahead and don't get comfortable, push the edge, just be a little bit uncomfortable because that's what makes you grow and keeps you great. So without further ado, I want to welcome Herbie Hancock. Herbie, the reason why I wanted to get on this, and I'm not going to talk too much because I want to, I'm doing a music mixing success boot camp to spread some of the things that I've learned, some of the things I've seen from and heard and learned from people like yourself and others to help others coming up behind us accelerate their career, because the in studio experience and being able to deal with people doesn't exist like it did when I was coming up. You know, most people kind of by themselves in a room, so they don't get a chance to look over the shoulders and have all the conversation. So I just want to, I know you're so big on education. I want to focus this on trying to pass some things on to help people move their career forward and everything. So with that, what I want to ask you, Herbie, real quick, first of all, you are so big in pushing for your educational people getting the educational knowledge out there, no matter what they're trying to do, having a strong foundation. I mean, you have gone through being starting as an engineer and things like that as well. What would you advise the people watching this? Real quick, just give them like maybe two good nuggets that will help them get a solid foundation so that they can stay in the game long term. Just some broad things.
Well, first of all, I realized that because of the advent of the newer technologies and the ease of use of these technologies, they're so user friendly. I mean, that's been the whole approach since this technological world has come into being. That so much can be done without a formal education. That there's a tendency now to, I think, in the back of some young people's minds, that that the formal education that I went through and that you went through, Khaliq, to learn, like for me to learn my craft, and for you to learn yours, isn't necessary anymore,
Yeah.
because they can make music without that. Yes, there's a lot of things you can do without a formal education. Well, if you have a formal education, you still can do those things that you can do without a formal education, but you've added something onto that. And what you've added onto that is an understanding of everything else, or conceivably, everything else that went before. Now, you're not going to get that unless you have an education, a formal education. See, so I have the advantage of those who haven't had an education and those who have. So what that allows me to do is to be able, well, I can read. That means I can be called for a lot of different kinds of sessions, not just those where, well, I have to pick it up from just listening to it. But if I get called to play a session for a movie score, for example, I can read the music. I know how to do that. Uh, if I get called to write a movie score, I know how to do that. See, so what it does is it broadens your horizon. It also helps a sense of confidence that you have the background to go along with your creativity. So you put those two things together, and you're unstoppable. It also opens up uh, your the possibility of you broadening again, because Khaliq, you were talking about getting out of the comfort zone, uh, broadening your horizons to include things that you hadn't even thought of before, or or not even a perception of your career that you hadn't thought about before, or something that might be outside of what you thought your sphere was supposed to be. So there are a lot of advantages and hidden advantages to having a formal education. The thing that you have to watch out for is getting caught up into thinking that the rules are
That's a
not to
great
be
point.
broken. Rules, you have to break the rules in order
Yeah,
to
yeah.
innovate. You know, you have to be willing to break the rules. So understanding the rules first is important. Once you understand them,
Yeah,
go
yeah,
ahead and break.
yeah.
Come on.
That was one of the biggest lessons I learned from hanging with you. I mean, you really always, and that's what I loved working over there at the studio because it's like, hey, just dig in. You weren't afraid to get on the cutting edge. So the newest software comes out, it's like, okay, put it on. Well, wait, it's kind of new and ain't improving. Should we let other people? No, man, jump in and see what it can do. Break it if you can, try because it'll make you start thinking in a whole nother way that you may not have thought. And that has been like the biggest thing. Right now, I mean, I never thought I'd be doing what I'm doing now, going out and speaking engagements and stuff like that. You know, who would ever thought it? But I started out as a guitar player, so I never thought I'd be an engineer. So this is a continuation. And so, Herbie, let me ask you this real quick though. What is the danger? Because formal education is great. It fills up your toolkit, and that's basically what you're talking. The more tools you got. But what is the potential disservice that formal education can do to people? Because some people get caught up.
Right. Well, I already mentioned that about the rules. Some teachers teach rules, and if you break them in the classroom, then you'll be
Yeah,
called out.
right. Yeah.
Right.
Don't do that.
But okay, so that's one of the things. The other thing is there's a tendency for students uh, uh, to think that what they are learning is the only avenue
Yeah.
available.
Yeah.
And so that kind of thinking keeps you bound inside a box. And the box you're bound inside of would be the box of history. Because what's taught in school is based off of what has already happened, what has already been invented, what has already come to the fore. And it's extremely valuable, I believe, to know that. But to get so caught up in that you lose your own identity or lose the or put barriers in front of your ability to be able to find your own voice is a danger. But that danger is not the fault of the school. Yes, I would say the teachers and the educational system should become more aware of that danger than I believe in many cases they are. That they haven't become aware enough of that. But it's important for you, the student, to take it upon yourself to understand that that your voice is the most important thing
Yeah.
to strive for. To find out what means you have to express yourself that is yours alone. In other words, finding your own
Right.
mission. And your mission doesn't it's not copying what someone
Right.
else has
Right.
already done.
And you know, let me ask you this because it's so important to find different inspiration points and mentors and be able to look over people's shoulders. And because so people are so much in a box now, they maybe get their style together. They got their own little groove and they're masters at it because it's in their own little world. You're going to be the master of your own world. So how do you advise the people that are trying to do things, not just in music education or being a recording artist or being the best singer? How do you advise them to expand their horizons, to seek out the right people and filter out the wrong people?
uh, first of all, what's worked for me is to be open and to be trusting of yourself and trusting of others. But that requires a lot of courage. When I say trusting others, it doesn't mean blind trust or blind faith. It means, be diligent and be mindful. It's very important to be mindful because sometimes people can lead you in the wrong direction. So it's important to at least seek to develop not just knowledge. The most important thing is to
Yeah.
develop wisdom and to develop to wisdom to discern what can lead you forward and what can lead
Mm,
you
mm.
astray. So, uh, uh, and it's more of a notion to
Yeah,
develop
yeah.
wisdom.
Wisdom is such a very foundational thing that you have to constantly develop. But one of the things that I always admired about you, and I try to remind myself too, learning these lessons. See, as we get older, sometimes we tend to, and I see it all the time with the people that started with me or whatever. It's like all this new music or these young kids, in my day it was better and such like that. What I always loved about you, Herbie, I mean, you're always growing. You learn from new people coming up. You never get stuck. Your mind is just as young now as it was when you were a teenager, I'm sure, because you're not stuck in thinking that, oh, just because it was good then, and it was good then, that nothing else after that is any good. I always try to convince myself too and tell people that, I'm trying not to be the old fogey type of guy that thinks new music coming up or the new musicians coming up ain't got the talent like the old days and all that. So speak a little bit on wisdom and everything, because that's very important for people to carry forward.
One of the things is respecting other people, no matter what their age, and also be very careful about being judgmental. That can really stifle you. That can limit your ability to expand and to move forward. And that's a
Yeah,
battle with yourself. Is learning to have the courage to be non-judgmental. Courage is
yeah,
really
yeah,
important.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, those are some of the keys that I actually work with. So I know that I learned a lot from people who came before me, and we stand on the
Right.
shoulders of giants, and certainly have. And they encouraged me to be open. Miles Davis encouraged me to be open and to be
Mm-hmm.
trusting
Yeah.
and to listen. Listening is a really important thing. And I don't mean listening necessarily restricting your listening to music. You know, I mean listening to others in dialogue is so important, and not just thinking that your opinion
Right.
is the only opinion or that your
Right.
opinion is the best. I mean, be willing to listen to what others have to say, even if it's different from yours, because you might find something that you can learn from that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if there's no
Right.
listening,
Yeah.
there's no
That is
growth.
true. That's why we were given 2 ears and one mouth. Yeah. Yeah. That's what they always say. So do twice as much listening. Um,
Yeah,
oh man. Well, do me a favor. Just give me a quick parting thing for the students out here watching. All of you guys, one little nugget that they can carry with them that they should use right now from this day forward, and it'll help accelerate their careers. Take it away, my friend.
I mean, I've said quite a few things already to young students who are out there. Uh, but I think one of the things that I mentioned about being non-judgmental, that's one of the most difficult things to do. But the other thing that you have to remember is that your life is a treasure, and so is the life of everyone that you encounter. Every human being's life is a treasure.
There you go.
Keep that inside.
Yeah, that's
Keep
so
that
valuable.
inside.
Herbie, thank you so much for being on here, man. You guys, you have no idea what kind of treasure you just got. So thank you again. And hey, man, I'm gonna let you go. You have a wonderful day, and I'll be talking to you soon. Okay?
Great. Okay, Khaliq.
O-
Thanks for
Okay, buddy. Take care.
inviting
Bye
me.
bye.
Okay, too. Bye.